Am I live? Am I live? Testing, testing. I am live. Fantastic. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. I'm just going straight live, no editing, none of all that sort of stuff. Right into it. Right, normally, Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. Right, normally, anyone who goes onto this channel, obviously, it's not a very big channel, you know, most of my content tends to be about the faith, about the kingdom, about God, Jesus, and so on and so forth. And today doesn't, it's still the same theme. But over the last few weeks, God has been speaking to me and showing me how His principles translate in all areas. Now, as you can see, I'm a proud Chelsea fan and I'm old school. I'm not a recent Chelsea fan. And I spend a lot of my time watching a lot of Chelsea content creators because, I'm a fan. I enjoy the sport. So, when I'm relaxing, doing some work, I'm seeing what's going on Carefree Lewis, I think, or Matisse, Don FC, all these, the usual suspects, Blue Lion TV. I watch all of them. I love their stuff in terms of the football content. And about 5 weeks ago, we were on a roll, Chelsea. We were doing so well. We were winning games. The team was gelling. And we looked like we could, it looked far better than we had since Clearlake had taken over in terms of the ownership of Chelsea, and things were looking good. And I remember a few weeks ago we were playing Everton, and the narrative and the story was beat Everton, and you'll be top. And that might be only for a few hours because Liverpool had another game in a few hours' time, and all of a sudden, the media fans were asking the question: Can Chelsea win the title? Can Chelsea win the title? Can Chelsea win the title? And to my shock and horror, most of the content creators, most of the fans, might I add, they're quite young as well. These are almost new age fans essentially. They didn't see the Roman Abramovich early years, if you know what I mean. They didn't see real Chelsea teams, if you know what I mean. But nevertheless, we'll park that to one side. So we're on a run, we're doing well, and we're on the cusp of, going on top maybe. And then you start to hear words that, no, it's not possible, we're too young. And it's one thing fans saying it, but even the manager was saying it. The manager was saying, no, we're too young, we can't do it. The players were even saying that. And I was sitting back thinking, who talks and thinks like this? Why would you belittle your position? Right. What's the narrative? What's the optics? What's the physical optics? Oh, it's a young team, new manager, young players, and all that sort of stuff. So the optics says this doesn't make sense and you're not going to do it. But then, because of who I am and because of where I come from, and I'm not talking about nations, I'm talking about spiritual aspects now, I was sitting back thinking, of course we can win it. Of course, we're in the race. Of course we can win it. But I'm a great believer in that your words matter. And I'm a great believer that when all those Chelsea fans were speaking it down, I knew what was going to happen. If you might see me on certain channels in the comments saying, no, stop saying this, you guys you are bringing it into reality. If you keep saying that Chelsea will not win it or Chelsea won't do well, or you're expecting Chelsea to slide, you watch what happens in a few weeks' time. Chelsea will start to slide down the table. I said this, I was pushing back the most I could. Because why? Because of a spiritual understanding that I have, not just me, of course. Most people should have this understanding if they are believers. God created the world in 7 days. 6 days, 7 days, 7 days. He rested on the seventh day. How did he create the world? He spoke it into existence. There is power in our speech. So all those Chelsea fans, I know people say, oh, here we go again. This is another, individual who's off his rockers and doesn't know what he's talking about. But I'm telling you, The moment Chelsea fans, the Chelsea manager, the Chelsea players started to downplay any form of success, they started to drop points. They started to drop points. 5, 6 weeks ago, Chelsea were on the cusp, beg your pardon, of being number one, being on top. Could have been just for 2 weeks or 2 hours, I beg your pardon, but they were on the cusp. And they started to say all these words that no, we can't do it. And my question was, if you can't do it, why are you second trying to go first then? And now 6 weeks on, Chelsea are now. I think what Chelsea's playing at the moment. I think we're playing Wolves at the moment. So I don't know what's going on in that game at the moment. But 6 weeks on, Chelsea are not in sixth position. Man City, who was struggling 6 weeks ago, they're now a couple points ahead of Chelsea. Because Chelsea fans, the manager and the players were talking. And they were talking negatively. And they didn't understand that those words are impactful in the spiritual realm. Now people say, oh, God doesn't care about football. God is not interested in this. I disagree. God has an affair and a care in everything. Not to say that God's a Chelsea fan, far from it. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that there is power in what we say. Let's look at some scriptures first, just to demonstrate. I'm going to go on my phone so that we can go through some scriptures quickly, just to demonstrate there's power. Right, let's look at this scripture. Let me demonstrate the scripture to you. Let me show it to you. So let's go into this one. Power and life in the tongue. Let's have a look at this one. Proverbs 18:21 says, the tongue has the power of life and death, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Let's repeat that again. The tongue has the power of life and death. In other words, you can use your words to create life, to create things. Jesus, God, beg your pardon, he created the world in 7 days. Let there be light. Let there be, sun, animals. He spoke these things into existence, life. And then on the same note, going back to the football, the Chelsea fans were speaking death into the charge that Chelsea were doing, into the momentum, because why? They were using their words and their written words to say it's not possible, to say it wasn't going to happen. And since then, they haven't won a game. Since then, since the whole, I think it was building up towards, I think as we were going to the Everton game, it was building up. It was building up that could Chelsea actually mount a title challenge? Even if Chelsea didn't mount a title challenge, the onus was, let's get top 2, top 3, let's stay in this. And it was building up, but the Chelsea fans kept pushing back, and it shows you the power of platforms, because you have got big platforms, Chelsea fans pages with 40,000 subscribers, 100,000, 20 here, potentially up to all the Chelsea fans. They may have an audience of up to 500,000 in terms of if you add all their subscriptions together. Of course, some will be duplicates here and there, but nevertheless, definitely they've got a large audience. And this whole theme of chill guy came in, and I was furious and frustrated because I have an understanding of how the spiritual works. And I said, oh, these guys don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know that they're ending any glimmer of success. Now, they will say, and go back to the physical again, because, I'm dealing in the spiritual realm. But if you go back into the physical world, now they will say, well, we were using our brains. We were expecting to fall off because we know that Chelsea are a young team and they shouldn't be anywhere where they are now. Okay. Should Nottingham Forest be above Chelsea? Should Nottingham Forest be in second? It's not like it's a traditional season where you've got the top, you've got Man City, you've got Liverpool, you've got Arsenal all in front of us. You've got Nottingham Forest in front. You've got, I believe, is it Brentford? Or no, who did we play last time? Not Brentford, Bournemouth. They've not lost when they played Chelsea the last week or so. They've not lost in about 8 or 9 games. Let's look for another scripture as well. So we've looked at the last one we just checked, which was Proverbs 18:21, the tongue has power of life and death. And that's the NIV translation. Let's look at the New Living Translation. The tongue can bring death or life. Those who love to talk will reap the consequences. All right, let's go for another one. What translation should we use? Let's use the New King James Version. Death and life are the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat of its fruit. The Chelsea fans were just talking and talking and pushing back against something positive, even though deep down it was more of a mechanism to protect themselves, because all these video football content creators, whatever they call themselves, it's all an ego thing. It's all I don't want to get clipped. I don't want to be caught that I made a wrong judgment call at the start of the season. Who cares? So a lot of them had this whole facade of chill guys, and I'm like, that mentality was crazy to me. And what made it worse is, one thing, the fans having that energy, fair enough, I was shocked to see the manager was also double downing on it. The manager was also on support and say, no, we're not going to do it. And then when we would lose, he would say, well, I told you so. I'm paraphrasing, didn't quite say I told you so. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Let me give you another scripture. To back my point. Let's go into Proverbs 23, verse 7. It says, for as he thinketh in his heart, so he is. Eat and drink, says to thee, but his heart is not with thee. So the first line is of real concentration for me. For as he thinketh in his heart, so he is. So whatever you think in your heart is what you're going to see in reality. So if Maresca, the manager, doesn't believe Chelsea can do it and he's saying it out, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. And what Chelsea fans should have been doing, and once again, it's difficult because obviously I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, so I have the concepts or the idea of the power of the word, the spoken words. You wouldn't see me saying anything negative to anyone, because anything can happen. You wouldn't see me cursing anyone or wishing bad to anyone, because I know the power of one's tongue. So it was really frustrating, and I had no intention of doing a video. This channel is based on kingdom, God, and all that sort of stuff. But then God said to me, I translate through all topics and narratives. You can see an issue here, Lionel. Speak on it. Speak on it. Bring this point across, that what was going on was something in the spiritual realm that people didn't understand. That what was going on was that people were speaking things, and what Chelsea fans should have been doing is just, embracing the position, embracing being second, embracing challenging Liverpool. Even if we don't win it in the end, you were never meant to be in a race, fine. Embrace it, because you may never get the opportunity again. Now Man City seems to, they seem to have got their groove back a bit. Arsenal are a bit all over the place at the moment as well. Nottingham Forest, they're still there as well. But Chelsea fans should embrace the positivity. And of course, not everybody's a Christian. Nobody thinks the way I think, and I'm not saying everybody should, but I'm just saying that, just boiling it down to what it is, we have to be careful with how we speak and what we project out. Because Maresca, the fans, all said Chelsea couldn't do it. This was 6 weeks ago. Now where are Chelsea? Way away from the title challenge conversation. Even to the point where what the Chelsea fans were saying was top four. Don't sell for top four. Sell for top four. Now, the Chelsea I represent, the Drogbas, the Lampards, the Peter Cechs, Iron Robin of the days, we weren't a top 4 team. We were a top 1, top 2 team. So it's for me to see this and to see Chelsea fans not embracing a title chase, even if we weren't equipped to last the race, I guarantee if we would have been more positive in that 6-week window, we wouldn't be 6. We wouldn't have 3 points out of 15. Now I'm not saying we'd have won all our games, but it wouldn't have been 3 points out of 15. Something happened. There was too much noise in one direction that we can't do it. I've never seen a fan base, be afraid of success, be afraid of wanting to do something, and using their mouth and their words to downplay the fight for a title, the fight to be number one. And now look at where Chelsea is. I thought the Lord said, look, Lionel, you have to go in there and talk. And one day, I will try my best to get a video done properly, nicely edited, with far more scriptures about the power of the tongue and how you can use the tongue for positive, you can use the tongue for negative. You can use the tongue to create things, you can use the tongue to pull down and destroy things. And that's what Chelsea fans were doing indirectly. They were destroying what was going on with the Chelsea, the momentum. Not just Chelsea fans, even the Chelsea players. I saw Levi Colwill, I saw Cole Palmer, I saw a host of players said, "No, it's early days. We're just there, we're just young, and so on and so forth." And then from there to not even winning a game for 5, not even winning one game in 5, and then we got Man City next. We better beat Wolves today. Now, I felt the Lord said that go on and break it. Go on there and bring some positivity and break. I don't want to use a curse because you guys will think I'm crazy. I'm not. I know what I'm saying. But break that hold, that word. The Chelsea fans, Maresca, everyone was saying about Chelsea can't do it or Chelsea won't do it. Now, I'm not saying Chelsea were going to win the Premiership, but what I am saying is that I am a great believer in all the words that said Chelsea was going to not do it, contributed to this position. Everyone was saying we were expecting to do this. Now look, and the interesting thing is, a lot of people would say, "Oh, Pochettino didn't do a great job." Maresca's only a few points or a few positions away from him. It's almost like a reverse where, we did well towards the end of Pochettino last season, and we did well with Maresca now. But now it could go all round, and we can end up finishing 9th. Who knows? Hopefully we don't. So what I would like to do is definitely want to come back with more scriptures about this and analyze this a bit more in greater detail, giving you guys different scriptures, giving you guys different, just to even move away from the football and to move on to a more scriptural discussion. There is power in the tongue. I keep saying, God's first words was, "Let there be light." He spoke something into existence. You have individuals on the other side, talk about the law of attraction. I don't, subscribe to any of that sort of stuff. But just to show you the power of your voice. Now, hopefully Chelsea do well and win today. I know we've got a host of injuries. I'm not praying for Chelsea to win, but I just felt God said, "Look, Lionel, there's a teaching moment in this. Not to Chelsea fans, not to non-believers, but just a teaching moment to individuals about the power of the word." Hope you guys have a good evening. As I said, this was just off the cuff. Get on there and talk. Hopefully, when I get some time, I'll do a real proper video with the tables, what Maresca said, what players said, and just do a proper, concise video on the topic. Take care. Have a good day. Up the Chelsea.